from the World Blitz Team Championships 2026. This is the battle for the 5th place that happens because both MGD1 led by Arjun and Chess Gurukul led by Praggnanandhaa lost their quarterfinals. So now for the 5th place fight, they take on each other, and this will be quite an interesting one. A handshake and off we go. Arjun plays d4, Pragg brings his knight out. We have the Queen's Gambit decline. No, we have the Bogo Indian, and Arjun goes for NBD2 line, and he keeps it simple. The main line is A3 to push the bishop back, but he goes E3, and maybe now he plays here. Bishop takes D2, bishop takes. White has the bishop pair. Black goes Queen E7 with the idea of pushing the pawn to put the pawns on dark squares and open up the light squared bishop. Queen comes up to C2, and now E5 played by Pragg. The bishop comes on a good square, trying to look at this diagonal. White has a huge trump card here, which is the bishop pair, but I believe black is able to neutralize this with, let's say if you take with the bishop, I bring my knight out, and if you put your bishop back, I'll go knight e4 and try to get your bishop. He takes with the knight, and Pragg quickly plays knight e4 to get the bishop on c3. Even though black will get this bishop, still one could say that white's position is slightly more pleasant because white would like to castle, play on the queen side. It does feel easier to play as white. Pragg deciding how to make the position a bit more complex to pose more problems for Arjun. Knight to c6 he plays. And now I guess you can simply castle. The other idea is to, of course, chop off the knight on c6 and change the structure completely. And I believe that that also should be playable. For example, knight c6, bc6. But that does allow black to put the bishop on b7 and push c5 to put the bishop on this very nice long diagonal. Arjun taking good solid time in the opening. And now castles. So if Pragg takes on d4, I can take back with the bishop. But think about this position. I take, you take, and I take. And this is very nice position, I feel. By the way, this is exactly what we discussed has happened. It feels white is slightly better, but Pragg is like, hey, look, I just put my bishop here. I'll play rook e8. Maybe try to trade queens. I don't see how you're better, Arjun. Bishop f3. Pressure on b7, bishop c6, and he plays bishop d5. Now, if you take here and I take here, then the c7 pawn becomes a weakness. So Pragg decides to not take it. He goes rook f e8. Have to be slightly careful as black, because if you move this rook, then the a7 pawn would be hanging. He goes b4, queen e5, and rook fd1. And now Pragg goes pawn to a6. Simple move, just taking away this threat. h3, getting rid of back rank weaknesses. g6, doing the same for black. You know, in classical chess, such positions do end in draws. But in Blitz, it's a completely different ball game. a4 with the idea of b5. Pragg has 30 extra seconds on the clock. He goes king g7. And now b5, I'm not so sure, because the pressure here and the pressure here should give black very good position. So Arjun plays e4. Wow. He's putting the bishop on d5 in a very powerful position, protected by 2 pawns. Also, like if you take on d4, I'll take back with the rook. There are many ways to play here for black. One of them could be just to take and play rook e5 or rook e7 and bring the other rook. Pragg down to 1 minute 20 seconds. He goes rook e7. He wants to double on the e file. And Arjun now, you know, at every move he has a chance to take or not take. He plays f3 and f5, striking at the structure. Well, e takes f5 is possible to spoil the structure. Like for example here, he does take it. And now you can't take with the queen as this is pinned. So he takes the queen, rook, and g takes f5. Now the f5 pawn is a bit weak, but the king is quite close. Now king f2, he brings the rook to e8. And there are threats of entering in. So Arjun comes back. You have rook e3, b5, takes, and rook takes d5. And we are at this position now. Attacking the f5 pawn. So rook 8, e5 looks natural to trade the rooks. Pragg has 45 seconds. Arjun has 41 seconds. Gives a check. King goes back to f1. And now rook e5 played. White brings the rook to d1 to defend the rook on d5, takes, rook takes d5, and rook to e5 played. Well, if you take here, take this should be a drawn endgame. So Arjun, whether he wants to go into a pawn endgame or not is a question. You can see Arjun calculating intensely, Pragg being super focused. f4, and now rook e4 played. He takes the pawn, takes on c4, take on a6, and pushes the pawn to a5. So instead of a pawn endgame, we now see a rook endgame with black having two passers here. This does look very promising for Pragg, because white doesn't have two passers, only one. King f2, but white's king is quite active. I don't know where this is heading. c4, rook check, and maybe king f7. He goes king f7, keeping the king on a good square. Rook h5, attacking this pawn, and Pragg goes back. Oh, it's going to be a draw. King f8. Arjun may attack it again, and you can try for c3, but Pragg tries to defend. Arjun is hoping that his position is good enough for a draw, but now Pragg's king is safe. Can Pragg push c3? He pushes c3, f6, c2, blunder, f7, and it's a mate in one, Pragg, but there's no way he can save it. He goes rook f4 and boom! Oh, and look at this. Pragg was like, I didn't even see the mate. I didn't even see the mate there. What a finish. What a finish. You can see Pragg's expression there. He was completely shocked. And he just didn't see rook g8. He thought he would win this game or at least make a draw. But wow, what a finish that was. And it happens quite rarely with players like Praggnanandhaa that they miss such a simple tactic.